Analysis on this issue. We're joined live from our Johannesburg studios by Dr. Westen Shilaho. He's an international relations expert with the University of Johannesburg in South Africa. Dr. Shilaho, welcome to Africa Live. He's also the South African Research Chair, African Diplomacy and Foreign Policy. Now, Dr. Shilaho, on two previous occasions, the UN Security Council's rejected bids seeking intervention on these Kenyan cases at the ICC. Do you expect a different outcome this time round?
Thanks, lady. I don't expect a different outcome this time round because the Kenyan delegation and the AU are relying on Article 16 of the Rome Statute, arguing that if these cases were to go ahead, they would pose a threat to peace and security in Kenya, regionally and even continentally. And they are citing the recent terrorist attacks at the Westgate Mall as evidence of that fact. I don't think it's likely to sway the UN Security Council because as we know, that was a terrorist attack, and you never know, it can strike at any time. So what it means is that Kenya is likely to be in a constant state of siege, and as such, the cases can stay in abeyance for an indefinite period of time, and that will pose an impediment to those who are arguing for the expeditious resolution of these cases so that justice for the victims of the post-election violence in the aftermath of the 2007 elections must be done. Secondly, I don't think the UN Security Council would also want to entertain a deferral because that also would make Sudan also go that route. And the Sudanese case elicits a lot of opposition within the UN Security Council circle. So it's likely to open a can of worms. And I don't think the UN Security Council is likely to go that route. So I don't expect a different outcome this time round. It's
okay, so now based on those factors, you say that the AU most likely wouldn't be successful at the UN Security Council. That, along with New York talking about a split among member countries, but AU countries still appear to be keen to have the matter put to a vote. So what is their motivating factor? They don't appear to want to give up.
No, they should go ahead and ensure that the matter is heard. The split is likely to be there because of the strategic interests of the various members of the UN Security Council. I expect the African representatives to back up that resolution for a deferral. But the P5, the permanent 5 members, it's likely that some of them will be opposed to a deferral. Some will back it up. But then, as you know, such a resolution needs 9 members out of the 15. And all the 5 must not veto it. So all the P5 members, that is Russia, Britain, US, France, and China, must back that resolution for it to go through, which is such a tall order. But the African Union and Kenya must go ahead and push and see how they will fare.
All right, Dr.
Even if the chances look slim.
Now, long term, what are we looking at in terms of the AU's relationship with the ICC, depending on what the outcome is of this bid for a deferral?
Already the relationship is frosty. It can only get worse. But what I see is, especially those who are arguing for severance of ties between the AU and the ICC will be emboldened if the deferral doesn't come off, to argue that in actual sense the ICC is, as it were, an imperial court targeting African leaders, and they'll be emboldened to make that claim in the next AU summit for a mass withdrawal from the Rome Statute, something which I don't think is likely to happen because some of the significant members of the AU, like South Africa and Nigeria, have ambitions of getting a slot on the UN Security Council as permanent members with veto powers. And so it wouldn't make political sense. It would be politically inastute for them to lead the rest of Africa out of the Rome Statute and also campaign for a slot at the, as one of the additionals of the permanent 5. So we will see lots of ratcheting up of the rhetoric against the ICC, but that's as far as it may go. The other thing is that Kenyatta, the Kenyan president, may be asked not to appear come his trial in February on 5th by his peers within the AU community. So those are the likely scenarios. But as far as withdrawal from the Rome Statute is concerned, I don't see that one happening. I only see frosty relations in terms of non-cooperation, especially if arrest warrants are issued against any indicted sitting heads of state, non-cooperation when it comes to investigations, and that's as far as it may go, and it is going to be an impediment to the international justice and resolution of conflicts involving war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide.
Thank you, Dr. Shilaho, for your time today. We're speaking there to Dr. Westen Shilaho. He is an international relations expert with the University of Johannesburg in South Africa.